Test comes in, what, 4 parts. Part 1, you have to do the form for me perfectly with 4-3 breathing. Part 2, you have to answer, tell me all the terminology in Chinese and in English and what it means. In some cases, why it's called that. In some cases, the second and third names for the movement. And then you have to do the form again and then answer my 108 questions, which you're going to have a copy of the questions. You have a copy of the 108 questions, yellow questions. So I'm going to give you a list of the questions, and I'm going to give you a document which contains all the answers and more.
All right.
You don't have to know everything in the document, but you have to be able to answer the 108 questions. Then part 4 of the test is to explain to me the centerline theory as if I was a beginner. And that's what I'm going to do for you guys right now. What I'm going to do right now is exactly what you must do for me. Pretty much not word for word, but you've got to get the point across to me the exact same way I'm going to do to you right now. Okay? So we're going to pretend I'm you taking the yellow belt test, and you're me. Even to the extent that when I ask you, do you get it? I want you to do that to me. Because what I want to see is that you have the ability to convey the centerline theory to a beginner that doesn't know anything about Wing Chun. So you have to pretend I don't know anything. So right now I'm going to pretend you guys don't know anything about Wing Chun. Right? And see if I can make you understand the centerline theory. And that's what I expect you to do to me. Okay? Now, the centerline theory, in Chinese it's called centerline. Centerline means centerline law or theory. The centerline theory is really the backbone of the Wing Chun system. It's what sets Wing Chun apart from other styles of martial arts. I'm not saying it makes it better or worse, but it sets Wing Chun apart as different. Now, many martial arts have a centerline theory of sorts, but Wing Chun has specifically a very different centerline theory than any other martial art that I've ever seen. So I'm going to explain it to you now so that you understand fully the science behind Wing Chun. Now, before you can fully understand the centerline theory, you must understand 5 components that make up the centerline theory. The first component that you have to understand is what's called the mother line. Now, the mother line in Wing Chun is a line really that goes through the middle of the top of your head and comes out the body. And it's your axis of rotation, like a globe. When you have the earth globe and you spin it, it's on an axis. And it is your axis. Now, if you pivot correctly in Wing Chun on the heels, your mother line will not move when you pivot. I mean, it maybe moves microscopically. But in essence, the mother line doesn't move when I pivot. You see? It stays constant and I turn around it. If I was very careful, the mother line still hasn't changed. It's almost like a pin going through the top of my head and sticking into the floor. And I can turn around it. However, if I step, the mother line does move because it's inside me. So if you see my core move, the mother line moved. It didn't move, it didn't move, it didn't move, it didn't move, it moved. Does everybody understand what I mean by mother line?
Yeah.
Okay. Next component.
An axis.
Axis of rotation is exactly what it is. Now, the center line itself is not truly a line, but it's a plane, almost like a sheet of paper. Okay, Mark, stand up. Let's just stand like that. Now, the mother line is really a plane which connects his mother line to mine. Stand like this. Face me. Now, you know where Mark's mother line is. You can imagine it. And you know where mine is, right?
Yeah.
So the center line is not really a line, it's a plane. And it connects Mark's mother line to mine. It's right here. See? Now, if Mark pivots, the center line did not change. If I pivot and he pivots, the center line still didn't change. If he stays and I turn, anyway, the center line between us didn't change. The center line doesn't care about your face. It doesn't care about your chest. The center line goes right inside you to your core. And it connects us core to core. Now, if I step, the center line did change. Why? Because my side of it moved with me, my mother line. So now the center line is over here. Now, if I'm very careful, the center line didn't change. But if now it changed. So the center line is almost like in the old cowboy movies when they used to put a rag in their teeth, and you had one in his teeth and we would fight with a knife, that rag would be the center line. Okay? So the center line is a plane which connects us, mother line to mother line. Is everybody clear? Everybody clear?
Think so.
Okay, still, let me make it more clear. You know where his core is, right? Inside his body, my core. So
That's the mother line.
That's the mother line, each of us. The center line is not really a line. It's like a sheet of paper.
Yeah, that I
cuts
understood.
inside his body to his core. And it cuts inside my body to my core. And when we turn, because the core didn't move, the center line didn't move. It just cuts right through my chest and goes right to my core. It cuts right through his chest. So if he turns and I turn, there's no change in the center line. Because our mother lines didn't change. Core to core didn't change. If we both turn, there's no change in the mother line, in the mother lines or center line plane. It hasn't changed. However, if I step, my end of the line moved. So the line went, and now the line is here between us.
Yeah.
Now, if I turn, it didn't change.
Yeah.
If I turn, it didn't change. If I walk a little bit, it didn't change. But if I step, it does change because now it connects us again. So the mother line, or the center line rather, is just like a sheet of paper. Like no thickness. It's right here.
It's a plane.
It's a plane, and it connects us core to core.
All right.
Clear?
Yeah.
Good. Now that's the second element. Now the next element you might as well stay up. The next element that you need to understand for the centerline theory is something called the self-center line. The self-center line is different from the center line. The self-center line is like a line painted on the front down the center, but it's on the surface of your body. So for example, that's the self-center line. Now, when Mark pivots, the self-center line changed. And he pivots again, the self-center line does change. So now, if I have my self-center line is here, if I turn, it's like that. If I turn again, it's like that. So the self-center line does move when you turn. It's basically, if you have a zipper, it's basically the zipper. Because it's on the surface of your body and it moves with the surface of your body. Is that clear?
Yep.
It's a line.
It's a line painted on your body, on the surface. That is what I call the self-center. Clear? Okay. Now, there's two more elements in the centerline theory. And the next one is what's called the attack pyramid. Let's go to the attack pyramid next. Now, in Wing Chun, we think of things as being pyramid structure. The pyramid is the strongest structure known to man. The pyramid in structure, that's why those pyramids are still standing in Egypt right now. I was there when they built them. I was in high school. The pyramids are the strongest structure known to man. So in Wing Chun, we use pyramid structure a lot in our theory. Now, the way that we create an attack pyramid, what we want to do in Wing Chun is think of attacks as being pyramidal in structure. So put out a punch mark. What we do is we think of an attack pyramid as being the tip of the pyramid is the place that would hit the enemy. Okay? One of the corners of the pyramid would be your shoulder. One of the corners of the pyramid would be the self-center line. And one of the sides of the pyramid would be the level of the elbow. So this pyramid is long, it goes like that, it goes like that, and it goes like that. And the top is sitting there. You understand? Now, let's say make a chowker. Now this one, there's the tip, the level of the elbow, the shoulder, and the self-center line. Okay? That would be
the pyramid with the three sides?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, that's all you got to worry about.
Okay.
Now let's make a chowker. There's the tip, the level of the elbow, the self-center line, the shoulder. Okay? So everybody understands what an attack pyramid looks like? The point is always the place that would hit the enemy. Okay? Now is everybody clear on what an attack pyramid is?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk about a defense pyramid. Let's put up what we said. Now, a defense pyramid, the tip of the defense pyramid is the place that would hit the enemy. So in Wu Sao, because we use this, that's the tip. which coincidentally, that's where chief focuses in Sun Tao, or anytime you use it. So the tip, the place that you hit with, the place that chief focuses. Now, the level of the elbow, the shoulder, and the self-center line would become the defense pyramid. Now let's try Tansao. Now Tansao, you would think it's the same, but it's not, because it's a little bit more outside. It's not in the middle, it's outside. The tip of the Tansao attack pyramid, defense pyramid is here. Level of the elbow, the shoulder, and the self-center line. All right, let's try Biusao.
Can you tell me why is it here and not in the?
Here, because this is the place when you use it. That's the place that hits the opponent.
Ah, okay.
It's always the point that touches the opponent.
All right.
Now, let's try Biusao. In Biusao, it's here. This is the place that Biusao hits. The tip of the attack pyramid, the level of the elbow, and the shoulder happen to be the same this time. Self-center line. Okay? So those are the points. So let's try Paksao. The tip of the defense pyramid is the part that touches the enemy, the level of the elbow, the shoulder, and the self-center line. Okay? Is everybody clear on what constitutes a defense pyramid?
For different attack, it's always the center line.
Always.
Always. Okay.
That's always one side of it.
Okay.
Okay. Now, that you have the components, now we can understand how the centerline theory functions. What happens now is that if you imagine two pyramids in space that are going to collide, they're not going to stop, right? They're always going to deflect off each other. So whose tip is where first would dictate whose tip is going where. In other words, if I'm down first, you're going up. If I'm up, you're going down. If I'm in, you're going out. If I'm out, you're going in. If I'm up and in, you're going down and out. If I'm down and in, you're going up and out. You know what I mean? We're going to dictate where the deflection happens according to whose tip goes where first. So this is where all these elements come into play. Because now, what I have to do as a Wing Chun fighter is I have to present the correct... I'm going to go over there and strangle you. I have to go over there and strangle her, and then I'll come back and finish. The defense pyramid has to be presented in order to deflect that pyramid in the correct way. And we have to keep in mind the center line at all times and the tip of the pyramid. So what I have to do is I have to select the correct pyramid to do the job without muscle, to do it strategically, geometrically. And instead of trying to use muscle to do the job, what I have to do is choose the correct move to use deflection to do the job. So, let's say that Mark presents the attack pyramid of the punch. Remember, it was here, 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 and here. You can visualize the pyramid, right? Let's say I'm going to choose the Wusao pyramid. Here, here, and here. What I have to do, in order to use Wing Chun theory properly, I have to get the tip of my defense pyramid between the tip of his attack pyramid and the center line. Now, what I mean is, you know where the center line is between us, right? Remember? What I have to do is I have to get the tip of my defense pyramid between the tip of his attack and the center line. Now, if he gets the tip of his attack between the tip of my defense and the center line, he wins. If I get the tip, I win. Now watch. He wins. I win. He wins. I win. It's only a very, very small margin which dictates who wins. Okay? So usually you can do it because he doesn't know what you're doing and you do. So what you're trying to do is get the tip of your defense pyramid between the tip of the attack and the center line. Now, if Mark, physically, I can't reach up